West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. I'm one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, Machel St. Patrick Hewitt, and with me as ever is Father Santokie. Santokie, how you doing?
Wait, is that my permanent name now going forward, Father Santokie? But Masha, we're excited, you know, millions of people, around the world are gearing up for Friday, the start of the big test series, two competitive teams. But that's enough about India, Australia. We're here to talk about Bangladesh versus West Indies. There's going to be about 17 of us tuning in, to the test, the wooden spoon battle, the down bad sides, Bangladesh and West Indies. We're here as always to, preview the West Indies side, look at our chances. And you know what, Mash, the way you've been moving this year, I'm fully expecting to get a message from you on Friday morning saying, listen, I booked a flight to Antigua, I'm at the first test. What are you saying, Mash?
Nah, this one can't see me. The first of two legs of the down bad championship. Do you know what though? If the Jamaica test had been moved, because the Jamaica test is in early December, and if that had been slightly later, I would have considered it and used it as an excuse to also go home and see my parents and so on and so forth. But now this one we're gonna watch this one from TNT in the UK and watch it along, and see if we can avoid the wooden spoon, Santokie. And you know what? Before we do, the usual thing of reading out the squad and the press release from Cricket West Indies, which of course has caused the usual consternation around the region, more questions being asked than answers being given, etc. Before we get into that, this is the big question I want you to answer first things first. Do we have to beat Bangladesh in this test series? Now, what I mean by that, Santokie, is obviously losing, I'm not even considering that as an option. But if we drew this test series with Bangladesh, is that below par? Do we have to win this 2-0 or 1-0?
Yeah, I think we have to win this. I think if we draw with Bangladesh, as in if Bangladesh beat us in a test, obviously rain might affect it. But if it's a series where Bangladesh win one and we win one, I think that's under par. The fact we're at home, Bangladesh are, as we said, a fellow down bad team. If a draw is par with them, we're essentially saying we don't have any chance. We're not expected to beat anyone in this World Test Championship. So I think at home against Bangladesh, we should be favourites. However, we've seen what Bangladesh can do. They beat Pakistan away 2-0, so they've obviously they can pull out the surprise win. But I would say it's fair enough to say West Indies at this point should be favourites. And I would go so far to say if West Indies lost 2-0 to Bangladesh, there would be pressure on Andre Kohli as a head coach. Just because I think we should be at least winning one test. And me personally, I think West Indies should be winning the series 2-0. So what do you think about that, Mesh?
Yeah, I'm in full agreement. There isn't and if the West Indian think tank are listening to this and the players and so on and so forth, anything other than a win is not acceptable. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. And let me tell you why I'm not having it, Santokie. Obviously, people say, but Mash, Bangladesh's fast bowling stock has significantly improved. I hear that. They'll say, Mash, Bangladesh beat Pakistan in Pakistan. I hear that. But this is also the same Bangladesh that got whooped on by India. And the same India who then lost to New Zealand at home. They got whooped on at home by South Africa. We just played South Africa in our conditions. And yes, we lost, but South Africa didn't whoop us. So respectfully, in a down bad cycle where we were expected to lose to England, probably maybe lose to South Africa, maybe sneak a draw, in fact, we drew with Australia. What am I talking about? In the down bad cycle of the World Test Championship that we've had, they would have earmarked that Bangladesh was one of the ones that we can actually win, one of the test series that we can actually win. The only time I've seen Bangladesh come to the Caribbean and beat us in a test series was that test series when everybody went on strike. And they played that team with like Floyd Reefer and a bagger man who should never have played. In fact, Andre Russell played in that test series, actually, funny enough. But they played against a West Indies team that was effectively a C team, and they won in the West Indies as a result. We are still, if we've got anything left about us as a test nation, we should still be expecting to beat Bangladesh in our own conditions. If it's Bangladesh away, I'm willing to have a different conversation. But in our own conditions, we should still be expecting to beat Bangladesh.
Yeah. Let me throw this to you, Mash, though. One sort of caveat is you talk there Bangladesh beat Pakistan 2-0, and then they lost to South Africa at home. But they played 4 tests in recent months. We haven't played any red ball cricket since the series in South Africa against South Africa about 3 months ago. And in the build-up to this series, strangely enough, because usually we play a 4-day warm-up game or a 3-day if we're playing warm-up games, there's been a 2-day warm-up game. And day 2 today in Antigua, the first session was rained off. So really and truly, we've also shot ourselves in the foot by not giving anyone sort of real red ball preparation. I know Super 50's going on and the white ball internationals, but that could play against us, just that sort of lack of recent red ball experience. So as I said, I'm expecting West Indies to win 2-0, but what's our catchphrase, Mash? Never a dull day in West Indies cricket. Who knows what's going to happen? And I'm not sure anyone can 100% say with confidence that West Indies will win the series. But anyway, Mash, let's get into the squad. So West Indies, they named a 15-man squad. We'll read through it and then we'll go through the main talking points. So as expected, Craig Brathwaite leads them as captain. Josh De Silva, vice captain. So Alzari Joseph is also back in the squad, but he's not retained his vice captaincy. He didn't play in the South Africa series, but before that, he was the vice captain. So there's been what seems like a permanent change of vice captaincy. Alec Afanase, Casey Carty, Justin Greaves, Kavem Hodge, Tevin Imlak, Alzari Joseph, Shamar Joseph, Mikhail Louis, Anderson Phillip returns to the test squad, Kimar Roach, Jaden Seals, Kevin Sinclair, and Jamel Warwick. Now, I think, Mash, you said on previous live shows and stuff, generally we sort of know what to expect when a test squad is announced. And I think for the majority, for the most part, this is a squad we'd expect to name a 15-man squad. It kind of picks itself. Big talking point, it's on the thumbnail. One omission, Gudakesh Motie, King Gudakesh Motie, not in the squad. And Mash, under normal circumstances, it might just be a standard. Why have they dropped Motie? What's going on? We're playing around with our spinners. But 24 hours after this squad was named, official press release dropped saying Gudakesh Motie had been signed for the Global Super League in Guyana. So whilst this is going on, this test said, and bear in mind, Motie has been our premier spinner, regardless of stats. He's been our premier spinner this year in Test cricket. Whilst this is going on, Gudakesh Motie will be playing for the Guyana Amazon Warriors against the likes of the Hampshire Hawks and Lahore over in Guyana. So, Mash, we need to dive into this because, firstly, based on the information and the semantics from various press releases, what do you think's gone on? Do you think it's a case of Motie's been dropped from the test side and he's been free to play in the Guyana Super League? Has there been agreement between the Guyana Super League and Cricket West Indies? Because that was indicated in one press release I saw there was an agreement. Or what do you think's happening? Because this is a strange predicament. It's strange for our premier spinner or premier player to choose to play or be playing in the T10 exhibition tournament, essentially. Because even if Warwick has leapfrogged Motie, you still have to have 2 spinners in this side. So Motie surely would have got in either way. So it's completely bizarre to me, Mash, and it's a strange one.
I think Cricket West Indies are running style. I think they're trying to run styles on people. Now, I'm going to be completely transparent. We posted on the Caribbean Cricket Podcast X handle. And by the way, people, we do now have a Blue Sky handle. So if anybody's migrating over from X to Blue Sky, go and add us on there. Just search Caribbean Cricket or Carib Cricket, you'll find us. But we tweeted on our X handle that we had been told, and I trust the person who told me this, that Gudakesh Motie, the Guyana Amazon Warriors had requested Gudakesh Motie to play in the Global Super League. I have that on good authority that they had requested for Gudakesh Motie to play in the Super League. Obviously, Guyana Amazon Warriors, Gudakesh is Guyanese. They probably want one of their kind of, franchise players, marquee players to be there. Cool, because Hetty's there, Romario Shepherd's there. All of the big dons are there, right? Guyanese big dons, apart from Shamar. Now, West Indies, I will again be transparent. We have since been told through different channels that West Indies, the people behind the scenes in Cricket West Indies are saying CCP are spreading fake news. So I'm going to be transparent, Santokie. I'm going to be transparent. And so and say that through third parties, we have been informed that people are vexed, and they're saying that CCP are spreading fake news and that Gudakesh Motie was dropped on form. Okay. This is why I'm saying they're running style, Santokie. Because whatever the reason is for why Gudakesh isn't there, why was it not mentioned in the press release? This isn't a little waste man that you're dropping, who's not played no cricket for West Indies and just happened to be in the squad as some kind of replacement guy. He's not that type of player. So respectfully, Brian Charles was in the squad for the Trinidad's the Test series in Trinidad, right? Brian, in the first test, he was in the squad. He didn't play. Nothing's been mentioned in the press release about why Brian Charles isn't in the squad anymore, but everyone just accepts, well, you were only in there as backup in the first place because da-da-da-da-da-da. So no one cares that Brian Charles isn't there. We know why he's not there, because he's not a big player. King Motie is a significant player, multi-format player for the West Indies. No mention of why he's not in the squad. If it was about form, they would have said something similar to when Alzari Joseph didn't play in the Test series against South Africa after England. They said, you know what, workload, Alzari's taking a rest, and everyone kind of knew you're dropping him. Actually, that's what you're doing. You're saying it's a rest, but we kind of know he's down bad. He was down bad in England. It's kind of a drop, but they at least addressed why Alzari wasn't there. Why have they not addressed why Gudakesh wasn't there? If it was as simple as form, say something. I'm not saying we're right, Santokie. For all I know, it was about form, but where's the transparency? And then, Santokie, I thought to myself, okay, let me just assume that we've spread fake news and that Guyana Amazon Warriors didn't ask Cricket West Indies for Gudakesh Motie to be released for him to come play Global Super League. Let's just assume we're spreading fake news. I said, let me go and scrutinize the form argument. Let me scrutinize it. It can't be because of T20 cricket that he's in bad form. He's not bowling his best, but he's even when he's down bad, Gudakesh is still doing stuff, right? He was down bad in that fourth T20 international against England. He still took 2 for 40 in 4 overs, and he was down bad. So it can't be because of that. It can't be because of ODI cricket, because generally he's been good. So then I said, let me run the test numbers. Against South Africa, admittedly, Motie was down bad. He took 3 wickets, I think, in the two test match series at 68 apiece. Okay, fine. Let's just assume down bad. Against England, which was the test series before that, Santokie, he took 5 wickets, I think. He missed one of the test matches because he was ill. Yeah. He took 5 wickets at 34 apiece, right? And then I think he went to Australia, but only played 1 test match. Before Australia, it would have been India. I can't remember who it was before Sri Lanka. Was it India? Yeah. Was it India at home? I can't remember. But either way, the point is, he's not, apart from that South Africa series, he's not been terrible.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean, the South Africa series, he was down bad, right? So if we're saying it's form, Santokie, let me wrap this point. If we're saying, okay, yeah, Cricket West Indies are right, he's been dropped for form, are we now saying that form constitutes 1 bad series where you only play 2 matches? Is that what constitutes form now? Because if form constitutes 1 bad series where you play 2 test matches and then you're dropped because your form's bad, well, we better drop Mikhail Louis, we better drop Alec Athanaze, we better drop Kevin Hodge. A whole bag of man in that team better be dropped then. If that's what constitutes bad form, we should only have about 2 players left in the team. Yeah. So I'm saying that them saying it's down to form is BS. Give us the real reason why he's being dropped. And we ain't dumb out here. Give us the real reason.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I don't believe it's down to form. I think firstly, I get obviously people, because the people are coming at us. Not even, I know people are saying fake news. Even on Twitter, people are saying, "Oh, but Warwick, his stats have been better." If you look at the England series, it was England. It was tough pitches for spinners. At Lords, Shoaib Bashir for England didn't even bowl. And Motie clean bowled Root, clean bowled Stokes. We had people in the press box at Lords saying, "Wow, this guy's got talent, man. Motie's got talent." So even beyond that, beyond the stats, you could see he's a good bowler. And I just think if it was a case of a new bowler, let's say Brian Charles had come in, I might have been inclined to think, all right, cool, they're going with someone who's a bit different. The fact is, Warrican, who's been tried and tested at international level and been dropped a lot of times, I just can't imagine them dropping Motie, who they've invested a lot in across all the formats, persisted with him across all tours, home and away. I just can't see them dropping him for Jamal Warrican. I just don't see it happening. It doesn't make sense to me. I know Warrican took more wickets, took 6 wickets or whatever against South Africa. As you said, Mash, I don't think they would think, all right, Motie had a poor performance against South Africa. Let's just drop him for Warrican. There obviously has to be more to it than this. And if people go back to our video on the Guyana Global Super League, we identified Hetmeyer, Motie, and Shamar Joseph as the 3 iconic players for Guyana Amazon Warriors. If they weren't there, then it's going to be hard to sell Guyana Amazon Warriors to the Guyanese public. Hetmeyer had a deal in Abu Dhabi T10. That's been scrapped. He's playing in the Guyana Amazon Warriors. Now we've seen what happens with Motie. So 2 out of 3 of those marquee players have somehow become available. So I just think there's more to it, Mash. I think, like you said, we're getting styled on out here. There's obviously something going on behind the scenes or across those lines. It could be fake news. We could be proven wrong. But the optics from us analysing it, CCP, we always analyse things fairly. We don't have any bias. We're just looking at it objectively. It just looks like there's definitely more to it than, all right, Motie had a bad series against South Africa. He's out of the 15-man squad, like not even in
out,
the
the whole 15. Like if they said he's not in the starting 11, I'd accept it, I'd be like, well, Warrican did well against South Africa, so they're only going to play 1 spinner and it's going to be Warrican. I'd say, cool. I ain't got no problem with that. But straight out the 15. Come on, Santokie, man.
Mash, all right,
don't make
and
no
then
sense.
Also, if we investigate this even further, we did also say in the Global Super League video, it was strange anyway that this tournament has been sanctioned whilst there's been a test series going on as well. So even that it's like the tournament has crossed a line which wouldn't have been crossed before, because you would never get a West Indian exhibition tournament being authorized to clash with an actual test series. That would never happen in the past. So it's almost unprecedented what's happening. So the Motie thing could be following on from that. But Mash, if it does come out that it was agreed between Guyana Super League and Cricket West Indies that Motie, our premier spinner, could pull out of the test series against Bangladesh, World Test Championship regardless, to play in the T10 tournament in Guyana, what do you think that would say for Cricket West Indies? How do you think that would reflect on everything?
Well, people would criticise Cricket West Indies and say, what type of puppy show organisation is being run here? And do you know what I think's actually happened here? Because remember, we were told the agreement between Cricket West Indies and the Global Super League was you can't pick any of the test players, but you can pick them if they're dropped. Like come on. Because now, of course, Cricket West Indies can turn around and go, oh, yeah, but they didn't pick a test player because Motie wasn't picked. So, of course, they're allowed to pick Motie. Come on. Like, come on. Are we dumb? Like, are we stupid out here? Because I don't know, Santokie. But do you know what I will say, though? And I'm disappointed because we've been saying this for God knows how long on CCP. But when a press release is put out, please, Cricket West Indies, and whoever this is, whoever's job this is, and whoever signs all of this stuff off, whether you think CCP are agitators, disruptors, fake news spreaders, whatever you think of us, please listen to this piece of advice. When you put out a press release, think about what questions are the public likely to answer. Then address those things in the press release so people like us can't run up our mouth questioning what's going on. If you just mention Gudakesh Motie's name and come up with something, there'd be no speculation. People would have to take it at face value and say, well, boy, they said in the press release that it's down to X, Y, Z. Instead, because you tried to just style it, make no mention of his name whatsoever, now you got people like us being dunce and bossy and saying, boy, I think they're styling still, and they're trying a little ting, but it don't look like that's how it's running.
But also, in our defense, Mash, because I know that the people against us might say, oh, these guys are just basing it on hearsay. So most publications in the Caribbean just copied and pasted the Cricket West Indies press release. Newsroom Guyana, which is one of the big publications in Guyana, their actual article says, I've got it up now, left arm spinner Gudakesh Motie will not feature in the test series as he has been granted approval to play for the Guyana Warriors in the first ever ExxonMobil Guyana Global Super League. And that's a Guyanese local paper, which should have slightly more information. So it's not just us, there's been local media reports about it, that he was granted approval to miss this test series to play in the Guyana Super League. So we just want clarification. If Cricket West Indies, watch this video and then they drop a further press release saying, nah, we've got evidence, proof that he was dropped on form and there was no agreement, then fine. At least we've got clarification. For now, as with a lot of things, there's no clarification. So we can only make a speculation based on information we have.
Let me go to another Guyanese, though, Santokie.
Yeah.
Because the Guyanese talking points don't stop with Gudakesh Motie. Another person who has been included in, or looking at the actual 15-man squad, somebody who's been included is Kevin Sinclair. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that Kevin Sinclair shouldn't be there because he's not good enough. Obviously, Kevin Sinclair went to England and Mark would bust up his forearm. And Sinclair had gone to England on merit, obviously made loads of runs in the West Indies Championship, had played that. Did Kevin Sinclair go to Australia? Yeah, he did. He went to Australia. It was in the Gabba Premium Series. Obviously went to England, made loads of runs in the West Indies Championship, was really good in that South Africa A tour that we went on before the Gabba Premium Series. So Sinclair's there on merit, right? But let me ask you this, Santokie. A year ago in CPL, if I'm not mistaken, Sinclair got into disciplinary problems with the Guyana Amazon Warriors. Yeah, I think he was sent home then. Just a few months ago, or a month ago, Sinclair was sent home by the Guyana Harpy Eagles, again, for disciplinary problems. All I want answered is this. If your domestic franchise in a Cricket West Indies sanctioned tournament sends you home because you can't behave yourself for the second year in a row, right? Are you supposed to be getting selected for the main team after that? Are you supposed to be getting selected for West Indies? Surely Cricket West Indies have to speak to the GCB and say, what's this guy actually doing though? Why did you send him home? What's the discipline saying? And surely whatever it was for, again, the details haven't leaked out yet from Guyana as to specifically what it's for. I've been told, let me just make sure I don't get sued. Allegedly, allegedly, I've been told that he was cussing off man and so on and so forth, right? And getting on bad in the field and so on and so forth. Cool, whatever, that might be wrong. That's what I was told about his alleged behaviour. Surely you're not supposed to then get selected for West Indies a mere few weeks later. How's he getting rewarded for bad behaviour? I don't understand.
Well, firstly, Mash, I don't know if you're trying to get Guyanese citizenship and get that old money, because Mash is moving with all the Guyanese groups at the moment getting that information. But yeah, I think the main point is this highlights the disconnect at territorial level with West Indies, because why are you rewarding someone who's been sent home for, as you said, from a Cricket West Indies sanctioned tournament? Surely that will say to the player, okay, cool, it doesn't matter what you do at a regional level. You can just basically, you can do whatever you want and you'll make the West Indies side. So for me, a statement would have been to not pick him to the West Indies side and say, look, you've been sent home by your regional side, Harpy Eagles. We've got the evidence. These are the repercussions of that. We need to work through it. You need to integrate yourself back into the Guyana Harpy Eagles. And then you'll get a call up again for West Indies if you perform. At the moment, what are we saying? He plays for West Indies and he does well. What if he doesn't go back to play for Guyana Harpy Eagles next season? Is he still getting a call up for West Indies there? It doesn't. There's no sort of. They're meant to be connected. It's all under the same umbrella. So again, it's bad optics, because you're not. With all this rhetoric about, we're trying to unite the territorial boards, create like a system where we're aligned. This is the easiest way you could have easily shown, all right, cool, we're supporting our territorial boards. And it also kind of gives the impression that, all right, cool, is what Guyana Harpy Eagles, what their coaches or whoever reported it, is it accurate? Like, what? Because we're calling up for the West Indies side. So unless they're planning on Cricket West Indies are planning on doing an investigation before they make a decision, just looks like bad optics, Nash.
Yeah, super bad optics. People are gonna be listening to this episode saying, "Was tired of these guys just running up their mouth and
No, but you know what? It needs to be said, man, because no one else is talking about these things, man. Like that's what I'm saying. So this is why CCP is the number one for West Indies cricket news and analysis, because we say the things that other people don't want to say. And so far, these are all facts. I don't think anyone can really dispute what we said, both about the Motie issue and the Sinclair issue.
Yeah, good point. Good point. We're not even trying to be controversial. We're just asking. We're literally just answering the questions that should be getting asked. Like, someone give us the answers and we'll shut our mouths.
But Mash, let's go on. You know what? We'll keep the theme of discipline going. So Joshua Da Silva's been kept as vice captain. Alzari, obviously, as I said at the top of the show, was vice captain for the England series. Got dropped from rested officially from the South Africa series. Come back now. He's not been made vice. He's not retained as vice captaincy plays. It's hard to know. Do you think this was a decision made anyway? Josh Da Silva seems to be being groomed for captaincy, or do you think it's been fast tracked by what won't happen in the white ball series? Listen,
let me just get this out straight and foremost for every uncle in the region to understand. Joshua Da Silva is going to be the next captain of the West Indies. That's the reality of the situation. Craig is due to stand down soon, you know. Yeah. Not because I want Craig to step down as captain, not at all. If it was up to me, Craig stays as captain until he decides, you know what, my time is done, because there's no obvious replacement for Craig. But the only person who can replace Craig, who has the requisite leadership capabilities, who's also clearly being groomed for the position, is Josh. Josh has been A-team captain. He took them to South Africa. He's captained the team at home, I think, against... did he captain them at home against Bangladesh? Trinidad, he's just captained Trinidad and Tobago for Super 50. Josh is the obvious next candidate. People will say, but Josh's position isn't secure enough. But he's clearly the best wicket-keeper batter in the region. Obviously, Guyanese man will say Tevin Imlak's better than him. But Josh's position is relatively secure in the side. So Alzari, having done his dunce and bossy behaviour in the series against England, the white ball series, it just, I think, has opened the pathway for Josh to step into. And it just means as long as Josh performs, and I don't want to say regularly hits 50s, but hits enough half centuries, maybe another century, to regularly stay in the side, he'll be the next West Indies captain. So if there's anybody listening who hasn't realize that's the next likely proposition, we're here to say to you, Josh Da Silva will be the next captain of West, and it could be next year, you know, Santokie. If Craig Brathwaite stood down as captain at the end of this World Test Championship cycle, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. No, and if he said to himself, you know what, I just want to go back and just focus on my batting, you know, and get back to making centuries and big scores to give the team the foundation. I don't want the captaincy like weighing me down. It wouldn't surprise me, Santokie, if he hands it over in about 5 to 6 months' time.
Yeah, because how old is he now? He's about 32. Generally, across most test sides, you find players drop captaincy around this age just because the last few years of their career, they just want to play without the burden of captaincy and just get the run. So this time next year, Mash, I think it's very likely we'll be saying Josh Da Silva is the captain of West Indies. Much as you said, much to the angle of a couple of uncles, but I think it's the signs have been there. He's been groomed, and you can see it visibly. Cricket West Indies sort of back him. And another inclusion, obviously, Jason Holder missing due to an injury. Justin Graves, you know, played in that Australia series, kind of didn't make it for the England series, but you know he's got almost a Super 50 premium. I think scoring those runs in Super 50 is kind of highlighted. I mean, there's an argument to make he's deserving of a Test place anyway because he was in that Australia series, but I think the Super 50 has also enhanced that. So Justin Graves in there as well, and Anderson Phillip, who, you know, we saw him play in the county cricket for Lancashire, did really well. It's good to see him back in the side, and on paper, Mash, it's a very strong bowling attack. If you think Alzari, Shamar, Anderson Phillip, Kimar Roach, and Jaden Seals, if they can all work in tandem and, you know, they're all in form, we should blow Bangladesh out of the water with that bowling attack. However, we've seen in the past the inconsistency sometimes, so that's going to be a big question mark. But is it another case of, Mash, you know, we've seen this, we all say this before Test previews, is it a case of our bowlers are going to win us the match, essentially? We're going to have to rely on bowling Bangladesh out for low scores because our batting lineup isn't as consistent as we'd like to see it? Or do you think with the inclusion of, you know, Casey Carty now in the middle order, we can be a bit more optimistic about our ability to score runs?
Well, listen, let me speak to the batting lineup directly, because a couple man in that batting lineup are due some serious runs. And if they don't get some serious runs, they could find that they're out of the test squad for Pakistan in January. I think, obviously, Mikael Louis prematurely called up after only 7 first-class matches, but had to make the most of the situation. He's had a 3-match England series, a 2-match South Africa series, and he struggled,
21.
right? Sorry?
Averaging 21 at the
And
moment.
averaging 21. So he's struggled. We said all the way back in the England series, I think you and I both said that Bangladesh is the series where all these men that they've invested in have to cash in, with respect to Bangladesh, but no respect to Bangladesh. This is where they this is where they have to catch in. So Alec Athanaze, all of this, and obviously I've got stocks in him, but all of this promise about, oh, he looks so classy. Well, you better cash in versus Bangladesh. Kavem probably can afford to fail versus, obviously we don't want him to, but he's still got the England century premium. So he's the least under threat. But I think Alec Athanaze and Mikael Louis, they have to perform. They technically, Craig Brathwaite has to perform, but he's the captain. So Mikael Louis and Alec Athanaze, I think they're under pressure to perform. But to answer your point, I think it will be, what will keep us in the match is our bowling attack in home conditions. Then it just boils down to whose batting is weaker. On paper, it's probably ours, because I think Bangladesh, with Litan Das and a couple of them man, will think, actually, we actually have better pound for pound batters than West Indies do, because of how inexperienced the West Indies top order is. But it also depends on how flat the tracks are. For all we know, Antigua's going to be super flat. Jamaica, I think, will be a results wicket, but Antigua could be flat, Santokie. So now I've said all that, Santokie, boy, it might not be 2-0, you know.
Well,
it might be 1-1.
Firstly, respect for yourself. You know, it took us almost 32 minutes to even mention one Bangladesh player. Big up Liton Das.
Yeah, big him up still, you know.
Let's go through. You know what? Let's go through what we think the lineup will be. So I think it's safe to say we think Brathwaite and Mikael Louis will open.
Yeah.
And then you got Casey Carty at 3, Athanaze at 4, Kavem Hodge at 5. So the top 5, you'd imagine, right to self.
That's it. Yeah.
Jason Holder played 6 against South Africa. So
yeah, the Justin Graves must be the like for like, unless it must be Justin Graves. It has to be Justin Graves.
Because we've highlighted the bowling attack. Do you think they might go over Imlak to shore up the batting, bearing in mind what he produced in the 4-day competition, or does it go back to what happened in Australia? Straight Graves in for Holder.
It's got to be Graves straight in for Holder.
Yeah,
it's got to be. I think you have Graves at 6, you'll have Josh at 7, and then it's all about your bowling attack. Jamel Warrican will definitely play. So then, Santokie, it's which 3 bowlers from 5 play. Jaden Seals definitely plays. So then you're left with 2 slots between Kumar Joseph, Shamar Joseph, Alzari Joseph, and Anderson Phillip. Oh, sorry, Kumar Roach, sorry.
Yeah, it's hard to. I mean, I don't think Kumar Roach will play the first test.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think Kumar Roach. I think they'll go with. I think Kumar Roach at this point in time, I can't see him starting a series. I think he might come in the second test, but I think they'll go with. Well, you know what? They could throw Anderson Phillip in if he depends on what Anderson Phillip's doing, because he was in form in the county championship. But I think they'll most likely go with Alzari and Shamar.
You reckon Alzari don't make my team? You know, he don't make my team.
Who goes
much less he's done some bossy behaviour in the white ball series. Remember, Alzari was trash in England, right?
Yeah.
So he was trash in England, got rested at home against South Africa. Now remember, in that series where he got rested against South Africa, Jaden Starboy did his thing. Shamar Joseph took a fifer in Guyana. Kumar Roach bowled well in Trinidad. So if, again, using Cricket West Indies' own terms, or alleged terms, or form, what's the justification to bring Alzari Joseph back in? It's only if you think, right, the track offers pace and bounce, Alzari's got experience, in you come. I think it's more likely that you go Jaden Seals, Shamar Joseph, and if they genuinely think that the track in Antigua has pace and bounce, then yeah, maybe they'll say Alzari Joseph. But if they think the track offers lateral movement, it's got to be Kimar Roach because he's the one who offers control and sense.
Yeah,
so,
and I think outside bet Anderson Phillip, depending on how it goes.
Outside bet, yeah.
I think we're generally in agreement on 10 of the players. It's that last bowling spot. So Mash, I guess final question: what are you? We've talked about at the top of the show. What is your final prediction for the series?
If there's no weather, I have to believe West Indies win 2-0. I have to believe that our bowling attack blasts Bangladesh out. I have to believe it, because if I don't believe it, what am I really watching West Indies for anymore? If I don't believe that we can beat Bangladesh, then we need to shut the podcast down. If we genuinely don't believe that these men can beat Bangladesh in our own conditions, we have to shut this down now. So, assuming weather doesn't play a role, 2-0 to West Indies. Yeah. If weather does play a role, 1-0 to West Indies. If Bangladesh do win a test, though, I think we draw. I don't see any situation where Bangladesh win this 2-0.
No, it can't be. It
can't be. It actually can't be. It actually can't be.
It can't be 2-0, surely. But I think West Indies should win this 2-0. I'm confident we'll win it 2-0. But as you said, you never know with West Indies cricket what's going to happen. And obviously, your boy Lytton Das might have hit a double century or something in Antigua, so we'll never know. But as always, we'll be analysing it. You know what, Mash, though? We still got more content. We've got to review the T20 series that's just concluded between West Indies and England. And Super 50 has been ongoing. So the finals on Saturday, I'm sure probably Sunday or Monday we'll drop a review of Super 50, because we know we like to cover everything going on in the region. So keep an eye out for all of that content. And yeah, the first test, Bangladesh, West Indies, starts on Friday. I think in the UK it's on TNT Sports, like 2 p.m. start. So good start for UK fans. And we'll be tuning in and, praying that West Indies, can save their reputation and come out with a series win against the mighty Bangladesh. So as always, as Mash mentioned, we're on Blue Sky. We've made the move to join Blue Sky.
But people, you can still follow us on Twitter. We're not leaving. We're not leaving Twitter. We're just setting up the Blue Sky account in case Twitter does implode all on itself. So you can follow us there.
That's how you know we're dedicated, because between us, me and Mash, we can't work our phone, and we're juggling about 10 apps at the moment. I don't know what's going on. But if you're on Instagram, TikTok, X, Discord, Facebook, if you're still on Facebook, Blue Sky, you can anywhere, just search Caribbean Cricket Podcast on Google and you'll find us on various apps. Our podcast, is mainly on YouTube, but if you want to listen on audio, we are dropping it, strip feeding episodes onto our audio platforms, Apple, Spotify. If you can, kindly donate to our Patreon. Everything we get through our Patreon, we donate back into improving the content of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. And so stay tuned. A lot of content coming over the coming days, and we look forward to watching that test match on Friday. That's all from us here. Have a good night, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are listening to this in the world, whatever time it is, and we'll see you very soon.
West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.